Hi, my name is Leticia Resendez and I am a student at Millbrook High School, and I completed my personal project finally. And for my project, I decided to make my own design and creation. So, how I chose this topic was because my mom gave me a lot of inspiration growing up, because she used to be a fashion designer, and it was just so inspiring to see her complete these beautiful gowns. And I would see them in fashion shows, and they were just so beautiful. For my prior knowledge, I didn't really know much about sewing because I was really little back then, but I did catch up on some things, but I just couldn't never use the sewing machine because my mom said it was too dangerous for someone my age to use a sewing machine. And so then, to get going, a global context that I explored for my topic, I'd say identity and relationship, because this project had to do so much with my identity. I wanted my identity to project off of this project, and I believe it was very nicely done. Something that was very highly challenging in this project, it was the language barrier in the interview, because my mom speaks Spanish but I speak English, and so then when I was making the interview, I had to translate all the questions I had in English and translate them to Spanish, and then I also had to translate them back because I didn't know many of the vocabulary words she would use during the interview. So it was just something brand new to me, and I just had to look them up on the internet or have her elaborate them even more than before. And it also did interfere with our communication, because on some things I did mess up, like the sleeves. I first connected them, the left on the right and the right on the left, when it was supposed to be the other way around. And so then I had to detach both of the straps because I did it wrong, and it wasn't going to work out if I left it like that, because the top of the dress would just fall off. So I just had to restart from the top, and yeah. One of the things I started doing when I was planning is I first looked at the digital workbook and at the timeline completion chart, but it just looked too cluttered to me, and I just couldn't do things on time, because it was just something that my mind was always distracted in that document. So for that, I just ended up making my own documentation on a piece of paper and pencil, and I started with my dress planning. And once I did my planning for my dress, the design drawn out, I then proceeded to do the interview. And after that, I just got to Joann's, and I got the fabric needed. Then after Joann's, I also did a second interview, and after that interview, I started to make the pattern of the dress. And once I did the pattern of the dress, I started to cut the actual structure of the dress, and that's when I started sewing the top of the dress. And I just started making a checklist. So that was how I met my goal. An issue or that I went through my planning process was my time management. So originally I was supposed to finish the first month that I got my project introduced to me, but since I didn't really know how to draw a design, it kind of took me some time to do it correctly. And so then it actually got to the point where it was already the last month to complete my personal project for like the product, and I started to procrastinate a lot with my time, but at the end I still gave myself a deadline so I wouldn't be able to procrastinate anymore. So that's how I dealt with my difficulty meeting my time management on time. And the rest of it, like when I started doing my design and I started making my dress and my items, I finished my dress in 3 days. So I mean, my time management was like neat at the same time, but it was also messy. One of the skills I was most successful at using, believe it or not, was using an industrial sewing machine, because there was a lot of things that I did wrong. Like I broke a needle, I made the bobbin in the machine fall off, and many other things I did. But at the end of the day, I ended up operating a machine decently. If you look at my stitching, it's pretty decent, and I believe it's something that I did successfully for being my first time. And now this is my final product, and this is my documentation of the final product. And the steps I took to complete my product, I already said half of them, but right at the end, I used another machine to make the border of the bottom part, and I did later then completed the whole entire trim of the dress by folding it only regular one flap down it by 1/4, and I just went straight around, and that was it. That was how I ended up being completed. I would say, to conclude this, I was very successful with my product because it is something that is very wearable, that anyone can wear out to a special occasion, and I believe it was made with decent quality, and I'm very proud of it. What did I enjoy the most of completing this personal project? I'd say finding my creativity and expanding it, and expanding my knowledge as well. The most challenging part of completing this project was, I would say, with the actually sewing the dress. I would say applying the zipper on the dress, because it's an invisible zipper and you have to get as close as you can to the fabric of the zipper without breaking the needle or damaging the zipper, so it can go up and down smoothly, while using a half moon foot, it was also very complicated. I would say if I could start over, something I would have done differently is not making a V shape in the front, kind of like with the diagonal lines, because I didn't really know how to do it at first, and I should have made it more squared instead, so I could have gotten a better form in the dress, but it's still a well put together dress. And for the last question is, will I take this project further? I feel like there is no way I could actually take this project further because this project has already been completed, but I could potentially end up making more dresses since they are pretty fun to make as well.
Hey y'all, I was just editing the video and I just noticed that the audio quality is really bad, so I just made a voiceover, so that's probably why my lips aren't matching my audio. But I hope you guys enjoy this video, and bye.